Hello friends, this is Lahari Jakireddy, pursuing first year in my undergraduation course. Today I am going to explain you about classical free electron theory. After the discovery of electrons, Lorentz and Drude took an atom to explain thermal conductivity of electrons. Friends, what is meant by conductivity? Conductivity means the conductivity, the metal is allowing electricity to travel it through itself. I mean allowing power of metal to travel electricity through it. This is conductivity. Actually, conductivity is just based upon the free electron moment. In any metal, there are some atoms. Atoms consist of electrons and protons and neutrons. Generally, electrons are responsible for the conductivity of electrons. Only free electrons. So, as to explain the conductivity due to free electrons, this theory is discovered. As it is worked based on the free electrons, the moment of free electrons, so it is named as classical free electron theory. Now I will explain it by taking a metal. Just observe it. Now let us consider a metal like this. If you consider a metal, there are some electrons, like this electrons, let it be electrons like this. These are electrons. This is a metal. These electrons are moving in particular direction. They don't have any direction. Based on their direction, they are moving. All electrons do not have particular direction. They are moving in different directions. So, as they are flowing, as they are moving randomly, there is conductivity due to it. Now, these free electrons will collide with each other at certain time. But in this theory, there is a collision will not take place without the loss of energy. Of course, they will collide. A collision will not take place, I am not saying. They will collide, but there is no loss of energy. Therefore, total energy will be consumed. There is no loss of energy. So, it possesses kinetic energy. Now, when we apply electric field to it, see, now if we apply electric field to it, like this, if we apply electric field through to it, like this we will apply. Like this we will apply electric field. If this is electric field we applied, before we applied electric field, the electrons are moving in random direction. They don't have particular path and particular direction to follow. But immediately when we apply the electric field, the electrons are aligned in a particular direction, like this, aligned in a particular direction. That's what. And why these electrons are aligned at a particular direction, we need that first. If we apply the electric field in this direction, suppose if we apply the electric field in this direction, the electrons will move in opposite direction to the electric field we applied. Why it is moving? Because there is a force acting on the electrons, F equal to minus EE. It is a force acting on the electron in the opposite direction of the electric field. So, electrons are moving or aligned in a particular direction which is opposite to the this is a applied electric field. It is moving in opposite direction to the applied electric field. This is what. And there are certain terms related to this classical free electron theory. I will explain them one by one. See, we have drift velocity. Friends, what is meant by drift velocity? Drift velocity means the velocity of electrons in the presence of applied electric field. It is called drift velocity. That's what. And mean free path. Mean free path. Now I will explain about it. Mean free path. Friends, what is meant by mean? Mean means average. Average. Mean free path. According to coming to its definition, we have the distance traveled by the electron between two successive collisions. Between two successive collisions. This is what the definition of mean free path. Diagrammatically, I will explain you. 1 minute. Suppose if we consider this as a metal. Okay, if we consider this as a metal, we will take 3 points. You take collision points. Here suppose there one collision takes place. Here another collision will take place. Here another collision. Let we name it as points A, B, C, like that we name. Now just we draw the path. Path. This is the path and this is the path. Okay. Now mean free collision, we need mean free path. What is mean free path? The distance traveled between two successive collisions. Generally we may think if we want the mean free path, free distance traveled between two successive by an electron between two successive collisions, we may say directly we can measure distance. No, but here there are different collisions and the collision distance between each points, in this point it is colliding, in this point it is colliding, the distance will not be same at any cost. So we have to take mean. That we can look directly, we can observe this distance never equal to this distance. Directly we can observe. So we have to take mean. Mean means what? AB plus BC divided by 2 we have to take. This gives the mean free path. And next it comes to the term mean free path is denoted by lambda. Mean collision time. Mean collision time means, as it is, I will explain in diagrammatically. 1 minute. Mean collision time mainly. Before I explained you that we took some collision points A, B, C, like this we took, and we pointed out that the distance between two successive collisions will not at all equal, and we measured the mean path. Isn't it? Mean path we measured. At the same time, coming to mean collision time, the time taken to travel for the electron will never be equal between two successive collisions. If the electron is here and it want to travel to here, it takes some time, let it be t1, but the electron is here and the electron wanted to travel to here, it takes t2, but t1 never equal to t2. Here what we mentioned, distance never equal. Before we mentioned mean free path, we measured average distance, as the distance between two paths will be never equal. At the same time, we know that what we know, distance is directly proportional to time. If we want to walk more distance, we need more time. Isn't it, friends? We need more time. In the same way, here there is small distance, so we can cover easily, so the electron can cover easily. Here there is a large distance t2 in d1, let it be d1 and d2. D1 is small distance, so the electron can cover easily, can travel easily. D2 is more distance, so the electron needs some more time to travel. So in this case, to measure mean collision time, we use t1 plus t2 by 2. This is mean collision time. Mean collision time t1 plus t2 by 2. If there are n collisions takes place, then mean time collision equal to t1 plus t2 plus and so on tn divided by n. Like this we used to write. And next term comes to relaxation time. Friends, when we say we are relaxed, if our work decreased, we say relaxed. At the same time, the time required to decrease the velocity of electron from Vd. Generally, the electron velocity is Vd. when it is said to decrease to Vd by E. Generally, this is decreased. How we can say it is decreased? Generally, suppose let Vd be 1. If we say 1 by anything, I mean 1 by 2, 1 by 3, it is less than all, it is always less than 1. So it is already decreased. Vd by E, when it is decreased, when the power supplied is off. I mean what? The applied field is just turned off. Then if the velocity of electron decreases from Vd to Vd by E, then it is known as relaxation time, relaxed time. These are the terms related to classical free electron theory. And we have merits and demerits. Of course, any theory we propose, there are merits and demerits. Now we are going to discuss about it. Merits. It explains Ohm's law. That is one merit. It explains the electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity of metals. The main use of this we discussed before also is the same. Electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity. So only Lorentz and Root conducted this experiment. Electrons were discovered before. But to know about the thermal conductivity and electrical conductivity of metals only, this was discussed. It explains the Weidmann-Franz law. It is one law. It was explained by this classical free electron theory. It is used to explain optical properties of metals. Generally, we have optical properties of for some metals. Optical properties means it is related to our sight and our view. They are explained by this classical free electron theory, and it fails. In some cases, it fails. It fails to explain the electric specific heat and the specific heat capacity of metals. In case of metals, this theory fails to explain the specific heat capacity. It fails to explain superconducting properties of metals. You may raise one doubt that this theory is supposed to explain about the electrical and thermal conductivity. But superconducting means extra conductivity. I mean, than expected, it is extra conductivity. It cannot explain about the superconductivity. I mean, more conductivity properties of metals, it cannot be explained. It fails to explain photoelectric effect, Crompton effect, and it also fails to explain black body radiation. I don't write it, black body radiation. It fails to explain ferromagnetism. That's what. According to this theory, K by sigma T is constant. Actually, it is constant, but at low temperature, it is not constant. It does not behave as constant. I mean, this behavior of this constant cannot be explained by classical free electron theory. That are the demerits. So, thank you for watching this video. These are the merits and demerits and the terms related to classical free electron theory. Thank you.